Hey, today we're going to set up our science notebooks. And the reason I'm doing this as a video is so that you can pause it whenever you need to. You can rewind it if you need to, and you can stop and do whatever. So please work at your own pace, but you should be able to get this done before class today. So the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need your notebook. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need glue. And you are going to need these pages. So these pages can all be found on the side of the classroom, and you should be getting one copy of each. The syllabus page, this is the one that I sent home with your families, and you brought me back the second page signed, or you should have. I'm looking at some of you who still haven't. So if you have this one still, please get this one. If not, I have extra copies of this, but you have to ask. I also have the science safety contract, which we went over as a class. And if you need a copy and you don't have it still, I can give you a new copy. But again, you have to ask for this one. The rest of the pages you can find on the side of the room. Okay, so you're going to pick up 5 sheets of paper, and these are going to be what's called the reference pages in your science notebook, and they're going to go at the very beginning. All right, now that you have everything that you need, I want you to take this syllabus paper, and in the bottom corner, I want you to write the letter A. The student safety contract, I want you to write the letter B at the bottom. This prefix, roots, and suffixes one, you are going to write the letter C at the bottom of this page. The sentence starters for science, the one that looks like this, you're going to write the letter D. Sentence starters for CERs, you're going to write the letter E. Graph expectations, you're going to write the letter F. Measuring length page in the microscope, that's going to be letter G. Okay, so now that you have all those pages labeled, we can actually start to do things in our notebooks. So in most of our notebooks, right, when you open the notebook, there's going to be a folder at the very front. That is awesome. If not, if it has a folder somewhere else, that's great. So what you're going to do is in your notebook, you're going to flip past the folder. And so mine has the folder on this side, and it has a normal like sheet of notebook paper on the other side. And what you're going to do is in the bottom outside corner, I want you to write the letter A on that very first page. I always want you to write in the bottom outside corners. Then I want you to flip it so that now you're looking at 2 sheets of notebook paper next to each other. The one on the left in the outside corner, you're going to write the letter B. The one on the outside or on the right side, you're going to write the letter C on the outside corner. So it's going to look like this. B, C, flip again. Then in the next, it's going to be D and E, both in the outside corners. D, E. And next page, we're going to have page F and page G. Page F and page G. Okay, so that's all for the letters. Now, what I want you to do next is I want you to take those papers and you're going to glue each of those pages on where it says to do. But let me teach you how to glue. So I'm going to go back to page A in my notebook, which is right next to the folder. And I'm going to find the paper that I wrote the letter A on, which is the syllabus. Now you're going to notice the syllabus has a back side. So if we just glue it down flat in our notebook, we're not going to be able to see what's on the back. I also want you to note that I do not use glue sticks in my notebook. The reason I do not use glue sticks in my notebook is because glue sticks will hold things for about 4 days and then they fall out. So we don't want to do that. We want to use liquid glue. When we use liquid glue, we do not use a lot of liquid glue because it's only a sheet of paper. It's not that heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the liquid glue and I'm going to put 2 dots of glue on my notebook. And I'm going to put them directly between the holes. Do you guys see that? They're kind of dripping since I'm holding it. And then I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to press it down gently so that it is only attached on one side. Now, once the glue dries, I'm going to be able to flip this and still read it. So I only put glue on one side of the page so that I can flip it open. All right, so if the syllabus goes on page A and was marked as page A, when we flip to page B, that means we should be putting the science safety contract because that also has the letter B. Same thing, we're only putting glue on one side of our notebook because we want to make sure that we can see the back. So again, you'll see page B has 2 dots of glue. I'm going to take my page and I'm going to set it down, press down gently. We do not need to hit our notebooks. And then that page will also be attached only at one side. Now, the reason I want you to put letters and numbers in the outside corner is because then when you flip through your notebook, you can just look at the corners and you can see all the letters and numbers. Okay, so we have page A done, page B done, page C. That one looks like this. There's nothing on the back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little dot of glue in each of the four corners of our notebook. Now, you're gonna notice that the page, once we set it down, is going to cover up that letter C that we wrote. So that's why we're also writing it on top of the page. So now there's a letter C, and I have my root words and suffixes. Flip to page D. Page D, sentence starters for science. There's no backside. One little dot of glue in each corner, and I mean little. They do not need to be a lot. They are tiny little dots of glue. Can you see them? That's enough. It's just one sheet of paper. You do not want to put glue too close to the edges or too close to the holes in your notebook. Otherwise, glue is going to get stuck your whole notebook together. All right, next page. This one has an E at the bottom, so it's going to match up to the E that I already wrote. Nothing on the back, 4 little dots of glue. Excellent. Flip, 2 more. Page F and page G. Page F looks like this. On page F in my notebook, I'm going to draw or put 4 little dots of glue and stick my page down. You do not need to do big, huge things of glue. I'll be very upset at you if you do, because then I have to refill the glue bottles more often, and it's a very big pain. And our last page is page G. Again, there's nothing on the back, so I'm using 4 little dots of glue, and I'm going to stick this page down on page G. So those are our main reference pages that we're going to be using. Now, the thing that I want you to do is go back to page A, and I want you to flip up where you just glued. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a tab. Whenever you get tabs, they're going to look like this. They're going to have the writing facing both directions, and there's going to be a black line in the center. I want you to fold it so that the black line is on the outside on the top, and you can see the word reference pages on both sides. This is what's going to make it so that we can flip to a specific section in our notebook really easily. If you notice this, you can see it looks like kind of like a little Pac-Man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the page that is page A, and I'm going to Pac-Man the reference pages thing around it. So kind of hard to do with my notebook standing up. You see my syllabus, and I'm lifting it up so there's the page A behind it, and then on the back side is a student safety contract. What I want to do is I'm going to hold both of those pages away, so I'm just holding the one sheet of notebook paper between them. Then I'm going to carefully put some glue on the inside of that tab. You'll do a better job because you have both hands. So I have some glue on the inside of that tab now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around my page at the very top, and I want to leave it so that the word reference is poking out. So that when I close my notebook, I can see this little tab. Let me show you. Okay, I'm going to make it nice and straight and off camera, but okay, reference. All right, and the final step that we're going to do is you need to flip in your notebooks so that you are looking at pages F and G, and then you're going to flip to the next available page, the page right behind it. So this should be on the back of where you're measuring and microscope reference pages. There's going to be nothing. So what you're going to do is you're going to write the number 1 in the bottom left-hand corner and the number 2 in the bottom right-hand corner. So page 1, page 2. Then you're going to flip. On the left side is going to be page 3. On the right side is going to be page 4. 3 and 4. And then next pages are 5 and 6. And you are going to keep going all the way until you get to the very last page in your notebook. It's probably going to be like page 190 something because we use some of the reference pages. If you have a 100 sheet notebook, when we use the front and the back, that gives us 200 total. And if we're using like some of the ones for references, we should get into the 190s left. So what you need to do now is you need to go and you need to number every single page in your notebook. Do not pull pages from your science notebook. We will use almost all the pages in here throughout the course of the year. So when you're numbering your pages, take your time. If you mess up your numbering, you're going to have to renumber the whole thing. So as you are going, you should keep saying in your head, left side odd, right side even. Left side odd, right side even. So all the odd numbers are going to end up on your left side page. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Anything that ends in those numbers are going to be on the left. On the right side are going to be things that end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay, so check yourself every like so many pages. Make sure you're on track because it's way easier to go back and fix 10 pages that are wrong than to go back and fix 140 pages that are wrong. So check yourself often and make sure that you're staying with it. I'll come back in just a second. So when you're numbering pages, it should look a lot like this. You should not be folding and unfolding your notebook for every single page. Leave it flat like this on the table. Then you're going to add the number on the left. You're going to add the number on the right. And then you're going to flip the page. Okay. Check to make sure the left side is odd, the right side is even, and keep going all the way through. All right, so now that I've reached page 193, which is the last page in my notebook, if yours ends on page 191 or 195 or something like that, that is totally okay. But it should still end at a big number like that, and it should end on an odd number. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my notebook, and there's one assignment that we've already done, and we're going to put that into our notebooks. So we've already done the SpongeBob Safety Rules assignment, and let me show you how to put that in our notebooks. So you're going to go to page 1 in your notebook. Page 1. And because there are two parts to this assignment, there was the text that you read and you marked up, and then there was the other piece of paper where you wrote down all of the rules written correctly. Mine's just got scribbles because I don't want to give you answers. So what's going to happen is we are going to glue this page down flat in our notebooks. Now that we have our notebooks, we wouldn't use lined paper like this. We would just write it in our notebook. But since we didn't have them yet, so on page 1, what I'm going to do, this sheet is a little bit smaller. So I'm actually going to put my glue on this page and then stick it down into my notebook so that I don't get it through the holes. So I'm going to do little dots of glue in the corners to glue it down flat. And I'm going to put that in my notebook. I'm going to make sure that if I cover up the page number, then I'm going to rewrite the page number so that I can always see it. And now I have this page. Even though this page doesn't have a back, we still want to be able to see the work that we already did. So look, I have glued down my SpongeBob Safety Corrections on page number 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this text and I'm going to glue it down just on the side so that I can flip it open and I can see the other work that I did. So just like before, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put 2 small dots of glue on the inside, kind of towards the spiral in between the holes of my notebook. And then I'm going to gently press down my SpongeBob Safety Rules paper, just like that. And then I'm going to rewrite the number 1 just so I can see it. So you're going to see right there, we've got number 1 in the outside corner. And then once that is glued down, I'll be able to flip this open and see my corrections underneath. We are going to glue in everything that we do, and we're going to make a new tab for every unit. So it's really important that you take care of your notebooks. You guys can always borrow my notebook, but it cannot leave the classroom. I also do not write answers in my notebook, so don't look for that. So good job with your notebooks today.